Hello dearies, welcome to the Craft Kitchen. My name is Tina, I'm from Germany, and in my mini-series Back to Basics, Use What You Have, I'm going to prove to you already might have what it needs to make your own junk journal at home. So in my last videos I've shown you what you could use for papers, what you could use for covers, what you could use for painting and writing. And actually in the last video I've shown you a selection of the papers I dyed for this series. So these are all, just papers everybody has at home, like some notebook papers, some pages, some pages out of a calendar, book pages, just plain white paper dyed with onion skins and coffee. And now I'm going to be using those papers to select some sheets to make signatures for the journal we're going to make together, if you like. So my process is I select the papers for the pages, fold them. I don't sew them yet. This is much easier for me because I can already see what my pages will look like, or what the base of my pages will look like, before I further decorate or paint them. And also working with non-sewn signatures is much easier than working with a finished book, because you always have to be careful when you're working with wet mediums not to get water under your pages, into the cover, into the spine. So yeah, I'm doing it that way. So let's see. I have coffee dyed pages here, a lot, really a lot. Then I do have those more onion red pages. The color is actually from yellow onion skins. Here are much more yellow pages, also dyed with yellow onion skins. Then again orangey pages, also dyed with yellow onion skins. Again yellow onion skins. I made a lot of them. And those are the more or less full pages I dyed with avocado skin, so more reddish. Well, this is actually avocado skin and coffee, because I like the muted colors better. And yeah, I divided them because yesterday I tried to organize my papers. I also deep cleaned the craft kitchen after all this mess here. So let's find out. So first, what I want to have, of course, are just plain pages. So let's find some. So these are all dyed copier papers, 80 GSM as well as 100 GSM, and it's 15 sheets, I guess. I hopefully counted right. So I'm going to be using 3 sheets for each signature. Means I'm going to be making 5 signatures. So I'm going to start and fold them and separate them into 5 stacks. My 5 signatures, only blank pages in here, 3 each. And now I want to add a bit more interest by adding already printed pages, so like graph paper, lined papers, maybe some book pages. The problem I have with lined paper is when I fold it like this, my lines will be vertically, and I hate it. I really hate it. As well as, let's see, somewhere when I do use, here, book pages, and I fold them like this, the writing will be vertically. No, I mean, of course you could turn your journal and you would have the writing straight, but my OCD forbids this. So I guess this is a good example to show you. So I do have A4 sheets. After dyeing, so after getting in contact with water, of course they won't be the same measurements anymore. So I will have to line up a sheet of paper here. Oh, and now I could, let's say, another of those calendar sheets, of these calendar sheet papers here, and just hinge this and cut this off. This already would be quite interesting, because this glue line here wouldn't be the tiniest bit further away from the center of my page. So this would be what you see when you open the page. Very interesting, at least in my opinion. But what you also could do, let's take this away. You also can just use, for example, this book page or a blank page or whatever you might want to use, and just attach this here, so that when you have your journal page like this and you open it, you see this column here, and then you have part of this letter, which again, in my opinion, is quite interesting. So I'm going to be doing this. I'm not going to glue this like this completely. So first of all, when you glue this together, you double, or yeah, most of the time, you double the thickness of your paper. If you do this right in the middle, so let's say here, half a page here, half a page here, you will have a much sturdier centerpiece here. So these flaps, these pages themselves, will fold differently from your centerpiece. You can avoid this even by using school glue. Well, I'm using bookbinding glue instead of school glue. I already had this when I started making junk journals, and really, dearies, I don't like using school glue anymore, because yeah, it takes forever to dry, and yeah, it holds lots of water, you know. So what I do, let me take a look at the back side if I want it like this. Well, I guess, yeah, that's quite nice. So I'm hinging this here a bit wider. I really want to have this, so I don't want to have this covered, so I will have to find another. That's great, yeah. Let's use this. So what I do, I use my brush, a stiff brush, and I just paint on the tiniest bit of glue at the edge of my lower page. So let's say page 1, like so. Like I told you, you can also do this with school glue, of course. I wouldn't do it with glue stick. I don't trust any glue stick. When it comes to really old and yeah, let's say brittle book pages, I'm alright with this, but not when I want to glue together smooth papers. No. And what I also do, I will have to turn this, is put a strip of glue, so kind of like on the back side of this page, right at the edge. And then you just line them up and glue them together. I do have a straight line here on my calendar sheet, which is perfect for this. Like so. And yes, there's no glue. Let me get my brush. There's no glue here on the inside, like this. So you do have sort of a tunnel. Well, you can use this, of course, like for a hidden journaling spot. I guess we're going to do this just to demonstrate how this works. There wasn't enough glue down here. But mainly I'm doing this because this way my papers don't warp that much, because when I put glue on this strip, like this width, it would just warp. And also every glue, yeah, well, not collage medium, but you won't have this for starting your junk journals. So let's say most glues harden your paper the tiniest bit. They most of the time stay a bit flexible, of course, but the paper here as well as here, the connections will get the tiniest bit harder. So you might already see this when I fold this over. I really have to push here, and I can't roll this. But for this, I don't mind. I wouldn't want to have this for the center of my signature, because when I, oh yeah, you already can see this. When I have sewn this like here into my book, then I have this fold here. And when I then open my page, only my page will only open up until this fold, and it will take a bit more time for this to come after. It's really hard to explain. I suggest you test it yourself. So now I do have the needed width of my paper. I really want to keep this edge here. So I'm just going to sort of line this up, make a mark here and here, as well as down here. And then I use my metal ruler. You can also use a plastic ruler. Wait a second. So if you only have this plastic ruler, no problem at all. Where's my marking? Oh. Line your paper up at your marking. Fold it up. Maybe use your plastic card to give it a little crease, a little burnish, like so. There you go, and then you can just tear off what you don't need. Of course, you can use your ruler and knife or your scissors and cut this down, but I prefer to do it like this, so the edges are really, really fringed. Again. And yes, having only what you already using what you already have at home is a bit more work, time-wise, I'd say, but you get the crafting part, right? Every other tool is really just for convenience for this step, just for make your work, let's say your craft, a bit faster. So not necessary at all. It doesn't matter if it takes 4 days to make a journal or 4 weeks. So, and now I'm going to add my newly made pages into here, and I'm alternating blank pages and lined or graph paper. So now I have 5 pages for this signature, so 5 sheets, which makes it 20 pages. Yeah, I know this is very confusing. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And since we're in the center, again 10 makes it 20 pages. With 5 signatures, you already will have 100 pages for your journal. I guess this might be enough for starters. So I don't like to make my signatures too thick, because when you add stuff in here, I mean, you already can see, if I just hold this loosely together, this is the front of my signature, so like so, and this will be the back, which means the signature is already starting to open. So the more pages you add, the more bulky your journal will get, and of course you will have a gator mouth in the end. I don't like this very much. Now I do have my 5 signatures here. 5 sheets each means 20 pages each, so I will have 100 pages in the end. So like this. And I also do have a signature somewhere where I didn't pay enough attention. Is it this? No. So that when I'm folding my page, the middle fold of my page and the gluing on is quite close to the center of my signature. Oh yes, and I've been using this here as well, because I can perfectly fine repair this with homemade boo-boo tape. So let me find my own boo-boo. Well, this is also my, oh here, oh, no, of course. So if I open this page now, or more or less close it, and would just hang it in with some elastic, this part here, this about half an inch strip, would always fold in on itself and over time create a crease here, like so. And I would have a boxed page. So let me take this off. So like this. I don't know if I want to change this. I'm going to be leaving it as is for now. So 5 signatures, and as you can see, it's gotten already quite thick. We do have, if I hold this loose, we do have about 2 inches here, and if I would hold this side loose and sew it in, we would have 1 inch, about 1¼ inch, and this would, because there's more tension here, this would open up until 4½ inches. So when deciding on how many papers you use, you also want to take care of every single signature, of course, and yeah, more or less estimate. I don't know if there's a formula, sort of formula for this. I always more or less estimate. So when I hold this loosely, I have more or less the same gaps here in between the folds of the signatures. So about ½ inch, yeah, each. And this is what I'm aiming for, because sewing them in about ½ inch from each other is quite nice. Of course, you could also sew them in like 1/4 inch from each other, but then you would have to make sure that you don't fill up your pages too much, and maybe also make a closure for your journal so that it won't open like this on its own. Dearies, that's it for making the signatures. I know, you might have seen this like a gazillion times already, but I wanted to let you know how and why I choose my papers. And yeah, maybe also tell you about the problem with the very often too wide opening journals, so like a flip open. I mean, you already can see when I hold this tight. Well, you wouldn't sew it in like this, of course, but when I hold this tight, it opens already here at the front. So in the next video, I'm going to be making some covers for my signatures, which makes them a bit bigger, of course. But yeah, when sewing this in, we will be able to solve this problem. And I really like to have my signatures sort of divided. And for making the covers for the signatures, I'm going to be using acrylic paints on papers that didn't turn out that nicely, at least in my opinion. And I guess I'm also going to start adding some acrylic paints into or onto my pages. I will have them out already, so I can as well play with them inside the signatures. And also I'm going to be making some leaf printing. Oh, I'm very excited. I like this very, very much. Also with acrylic paints. So yeah, the next video will be all about painting and decorating your pages with acrylic paints. So hope to see you then, and until next time, stay creative and be excellent to each other. Bye!